Are you a strong, sensible woman who keeps winding up in terrible relationships? All right, well then we need to get to the bottom of this, so make sure you watch this video right to the end. If you're a woman committed to being powerful and loving within yourself, your life, and in your relationships, then be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so you're notified as videos are released. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about this common issue that shows up, and maybe it's showing up in your life, or maybe it's your sister or your best friend or your colleague's life. And we want to look at what is it that has strong, sensible, dynamic, incredible women wind up in these terrible, unhealthy relationships. And for some of us, what can happen is we can be in terrible relationships and then say, forget it, you know what, I don't need this, and then wind up lonely, wind up saying it's just easier to not be in relationships than to handle these terrible relationships. And I'm here to tell you, to say I've been there. I know I've been in the terrible relationships. I've done the lone wolf thing and then managed to find myself in a very healthy relationship. Now, I did a lot of work. I even built an entire program first for myself, which I then have made available for women around the world. So if you're curious, you can ask me about it. But, I did the work in order to shift that. The options aren't to just be in a terrible relationship or be alone. There is another option, and it's called a really healthy, emotionally evolved relationship. And that is what I want for you and for the women in your life. So let's talk about this a little bit. Let's talk about why is it that these strong, smart, sensible women are in these terrible relationships? Well, different things can happen. And I remember being really shocked at how much I was seeing it around me, and then it happened to me, and that changed everything for me. So if we look, and you can look within yourself or within women that there's different things that can happen. One of the things that us strong women have in common is we can handle a lot. We can handle a lot. That's what part of what has us be strong, right? Which is a really great thing. But because we can handle a lot, we take on a lot, and we take a lot, which means we also tolerate a lot. Now, tolerance is a beautiful thing. We need a lot more of it in our world. And, that's part of the wonderful things that I believe women really bring to the world. But tolerance to an extreme is very dangerous and very unhealthy for everyone involved. So we want to look at that. So tolerating, what does tolerating do with another unhealthy person, or even a healthy person? And sometimes we can even turn a healthy relationship into an unhealthy relationship by tolerating, not speaking up, not taking a stand for what we know is right, not risking the loss of the relationship to stand for that relationship being even better. Tolerating to an extreme can have really smart, strong women be in unhealthy relationships and terrible relationships. So that's something I really want. It's a common mistake. I really want you all watching out for, where tolerance is great, but where's the extreme? Right? Now, the extreme the other way is being intolerant, and that's not good either, right? A big part of the work I do with clients is we navigate in between the extremes that we so often find ourselves in. And in this case, being way too tolerant, tolerating BS, tolerating, disrespectful, unhealthy behaviors within our environment, within our lives, and in our relationships. So over tolerating is not a good thing. That's one extreme. And then the other, like I said, is being completely intolerant, shutting people out, choosing the lone wolf path. And that's fine if that's in your heart of hearts, what you really, really want. But if you're here, if you're on my channel, I think a part of you really doesn't want to be alone. I think that where the magic is for you is to be navigating in between. So tolerance is one place. Another place we want to look at is taking responsibility. We strong women, right? We strong women who are often emotionally evolved, we take full responsibility for our lives. We've always had to, because if you look historically, we maybe were treated as porcelain dolls, but no one was really taking care of us. If we wanted to make things happen in our lives, we've learned that we have to make it happen. For those of us that are moms, we've learned that there's things we're watching out for that no one else is. And if we're not looking to take care of ourselves, everyone will take. So we've learned to take full responsibility for our lives, which again is a beautiful thing. But to the extreme, can actually be problematic in relationships. For instance, you taking 100% responsibility, which is great, but then the other person is not meeting you also taking 100% responsibility for that relationship. So if you're going to take 100% responsibility for a relationship, you need to be in a relationship with someone else who's going to be taking 100% responsibility. Both of you need to be doing that, which means you need to hold people in your life accountable for bringing that, right? As opposed to take it. I can handle it. I'll take it. It's all me. It's fine. It's okay, right? Yes, it takes a super strong person to do that, but it leads to unhealthy relationships. And if you're really honest with yourself, it also leads to burnout. It leads to resentment. It leads to ouchiness, bitchiness, like unnecessary bitchiness, right? This passive aggressive thing, or just being worn and having nothing left to give. Well, that comes from not holding other people to account for also taking full responsibility. Imagine your relationships if everyone were learning to take 100% responsibility. Are we all going to do it all the time? No, but imagine what's possible. And I mean that inside your romantic relationships. I mean that with, with parents, with friendships, and you can even develop children to do the same thing. Now, my child's still pretty young. We're working on it, but I actually, in my background, I spent a lot of time working with children, especially the tricky ages, like that 12, 13, like, whoo, that's a tricky age, right? But there actually really is something that can get developed in those ages. So we can definitely be promoting a culture for taking full responsibility, but we can't do that by just taking 100% responsibility. We need to have that expand beyond us, okay? Obviously, not everyone is capable of doing that. There are some people that are dealing with mental health issues and so on. There's certain circumstances, but then in that case, that means there's still something to look at there for yourself, right? Are you taking someone else completely on your shoulders, right? Where can you get help? Where can you get support in supporting someone who can't support themselves? Okay, so even if you are in relationships with people that really can't take responsibility, it still shouldn't be all on you. Okay, so let people in, let people support you, let other people take responsibility, let people who struggle with taking responsibility, encourage them to take as much responsibility for themselves and for the relationship as they can, okay? And connected with this, and you can see the theme throughout it all, but is accommodating. And so similar to tolerating, accommodating is a really great thing. And it comes from a strong women where we know that we can adjust our schedules. We can put something off until later. We were planning to do one thing. Yep. It's tough, but we can switch gears and do something else instead. We don't really care what restaurant we go to half the time, right? Like we can accommodate, and it's part of what has us be really strong and really incredible human beings and a pleasure to be with sometimes. But to the extreme, over-accommodating is the pathway to losing yourself. And I know you, well, I don't know for sure you, but I know the people who listen, and I would assert I probably know you. And I bet you've lost yourself in a past relationship. And that's part of what's scary moving forward, whether you're in a relationship right now or looking to be in a relationship or not even sure if you want to be in one. That idea of, gosh, I finally have become this strong woman that I've always wanted to be. And I don't want to give that up. I don't want to become that woman or that girl that just, blows it all away over some relationship. So over-accommodating is the pathway to losing ourselves. I remember someone saying to me once, this is actually while I was doing my project for love, my program for love. And I was asking someone else, what do you see as my strengths and weaknesses when it comes to my love life? And he said something really amazing to me. He's like, you are so adaptable, so coachable, so accommodating. And I know there's pros to that, and you're so open, but then sometimes we don't really know who you are. Like there's no stakes in the ground. You're just kind of like this shapeshifter all the time. And I was like, wow. Because I'd worked so hard to not be, super, super tight and closed minded. I really didn't want to be someone who couldn't let people in, who couldn't, see other viewpoints and all of these things. And so I wanted to avoid that extreme, but I'd swung all the way over to this other extreme. Right? This other extreme where it was like people didn't even know who I was. And then it actually was so amazing. And someone has shared this with me as well, but I remember it happening to me where I didn't know who I was. Like, what do I even like? What do I even want? I can kind of be happy with almost anything. And that's that sense of losing ourselves. And so again, it's not about accommodate or don't accommodate. It's that navigating in between. Okay. So share with me in the comments, what are you taking from this? How can you take this into your relationship with yourself, your relationship with other people? So that could be romantic relationships. It could be like other family or friendships. Like, let's really look at this. Okay. Share in the comments what's opening up for you. And, if you want to dive deeper, send me a message. You can come to my website, michellebaxo.com. You can email me at michelle@michellebaxo.com. Or just send me in the comments. Let me know if you want to talk about doing a intensive. So I do these 1 hour intensives. It's pretty it's pretty amazing. But if you want to know more about it, hit me up, ask me. I mostly work with women. I sometimes make exceptions to work with men, depending on what your objectives are. And so ask me about that. If you want to come and be a part of a community, I have a Facebook group, and I'll make sure that the link is in the description there. But I have a Facebook group called Empowered Women. I'd love to have you there. We really look at merging the love and the power together in our approach to ourselves, our lives, our relationships, our careers, all of it. Okay. So have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk soon.